Welcome everyone. I am the Barber Concierge, bringing to you a segment through Barber Stew. And today I just wanted to talk to you guys about one or two, maybe even three things. Try not to hold you up. One of the things that I felt was interesting as I talked to some of my clients is the difference between working in a barbershop and working out of your studio where you're the only barber. Obviously, if we talk about the barbershop first, there's what good and bad, as I see it, working in the barbershop. And I'm thinking from the customer's point of view. Uh, let's start with safety, for example. If you're in a barbershop setting, depending on where the barbershop is located at, you are at the mercy of nothing. Anybody and everybody can come in the shop unless they have a secure door, which I don't know. I haven't worked in a shop with a secure door in a while. That you're dealing with whoever comes into the shop, and that speaks for itself, right? When it comes to those that are nervous about that sort of thing. Another thing you get in the barbershop is you got to deal with the cleanliness or the uncleanliness of a barbershop. You got, let's face it, a lot of men, women who, I don't want to even say germaphobes because that's not, nice. They just want a place that's clean, right? A place that they can sit their coat down and, obviously leave the way it came in. You're at the mercy of the shop. It was during COVID. I'll give you an example. COVID, everybody was about wiping things down, and they didn't want to. Of course, whether it was at the middle of COVID or even towards the end of COVID, and as we're still fudging around, and that's with COVID. But at the height of COVID, a lot of people were calling and asking, are people wearing their mask? And how I've even had those ask, y'all wiping things down. Well, I'm not the owner, of that particular shop. So I'm at look, you're coming at your own risk. I mean, I'm coming at my own risk, although I can clean and make sure that my station is clean. So that sort of thing, people worry about. And you can worry about that in the studio as well, where the barber, if the barber's not clean, if his place is not clean, then it's no different than being in a barbershop atmosphere or a barbershop setting. I enjoy both. I have enjoyed working in a shop. I've also enjoyed working by myself and enjoying the client and building that relationship with my customers, but in a barbershop, there's positive things as well. They say steel sharpens steel. That's, good old conversation going on, and those that want to listen, partake in the conversation. You learn something, you teach a little bit. And although that can happen in a one-on-one setting, you get more involvement, obviously, when you're in a barbershop. Positive things in the barbershop. Just the atmosphere, right? Now, that one's huge because if you're in the right shop with the right barbers, there's a lot of fun. There's a party every day. You just hope that people are respectful of those. I believe that, let's say this. I was told by an owner one time that when you run a shop right and you're playing all the right music and you treat everybody with respect, and you even and the children, and you watch what you say around children, everybody benefits, right? Makes sense. Everybody benefits. The person that's the guy that's on the street, that street life, he'll benefit because he will adapt. He or she will adapt to the surroundings that they're in. If you are straight laced and Nick nervous about everything, um, that person as well is they're in a comfortable grandma that brings her grandson to the shop. She's been respected. The child is respected. It's a win. If that barbershop is leans towards a negative side of things, then everybody doesn't win. And then you have people that are questioning the shop and questioning. And I'll touch on studios and working one-on-one with the client. And then you got good conversation, right? Or good or the bad. It depends on the shop and the shop owner and how he controls the shop, which would be a good piece about when you're working in that atmosphere. But when you have conversations going on, it's a great thing for the barbers, for the customers, and everything. The owner job is to manage. If well, he can have a manager in his shop, but the owner is the ultimate, the one that put the name on his business, on the marquee, right? So he ultimately controls the atmosphere of a shop. Many barbers, but more so clients, will respect the owner and what his wishes are. They may gripe to the barber, but they're going to at least respect what the owner's trying to do if it's something positive. Positive music, as I mentioned, the TV is on, and it's these are things that you look for or you may enjoy about going into a barbershop. Now, if you're going into a one-on-one situation, you took your clients to that one-on-one spot, or even if a few of them come, you expect them to feel a difference, right? I like one-on-one conversations because everything ain't for everybody to hear, right? So I enjoy the one-on-one conversations that go on between myself and the person in the chair. People can be a little more open, if you know what I'm saying. It's a little more detailed. I mean, here at my studio, I offer a few amenities, nothing over the top, but I got chips and water for my clients, and they pretty much candy and all that kind of stuff that it may not be a big thing, but it's a difference. And you can feel that different atmosphere. You understand? I control who comes in to my place of business at my studio. Okay, so nobody just pops up. I don't get pop-ups. This is an appointment-based business. So that's one of the things that I just felt, I don't know, something gravitated me to want to talk to you guys about those differences and what you look for in a personal setting, depending on who owns or is doing the one-on-one. There's not much to it. You've probably been invited in. You've been invited. There's no knocking on the door. Hey, do you take me? But when you're in a barbershop setting, you and depending on the location, although issues happen, I don't care, the nicest of nice, the ritziest of the ritziest, or the hood of the hood, situations can happen anywhere. You're dealing with different walks of people. And I mean, I had a judge, for example, who, and this is in the barbershop, who actually sentenced one of my other clients' child, this, if you will, his son. So imagine that. You got a judge who sentenced my other client's son, and they interact, and it was a wonderful interaction. It wasn't any disrespect. It was a mutual love at that moment in reference to whatever transpired. I didn't even get into the details of that, but whatever transpired, they was good with it, both of them. And so these are things that, man, can only happen. Certain things can only happen in the barbershop, right? So that was something that I wanted to just discuss and just just information. What does a customer who walks into a barbershop look for when he's looking for a barber? Does he look for the best, who he thinks the best barber is? That's hard. I mean, it's subjective. Do you look for the busiest barber and think that he's the best? Well, you may have a lot of clients, but that don't mean you're the best. It may be that you're a heck of a guy. Like I mentioned that in another video, that you can be such a good person that people just like coming to you, right? They've been to another barber who doesn't quite treat them right. Doesn't mean that they didn't cut good hair. It just meant that they like giving their money to one barber over another. I've known some great barbers in my time, 3 decades in, and I've seen a lot. I mean, dynamite, excellent barbers. I would go to them if I had hair, and as a matter of fact, I probably did when I did have hair. But if you ask them how they're doing, they're looking at you like, pretty much, I don't do a lot of talking. It's a barber that maybe his personality is more internal. You can't even hold conversation with a certain barber. Or he has a look. Maybe he has that look, that threatening look, like, good barbers. You give them a chance, they can show you that they can cut good hair. And they had clients. But you had to fight through that personality. Now you could be bubbly like Cedric the Entertainer on Barbershop, good person, but he was older and never saw him cutting anybody, and so you would assume that, whatever, that he can't cut or something like that. So a customer that walks in the shop should, maybe in my opinion, he should look for personality that's suited for him, right? Where he sees, okay, this guy, if you're in there long enough, you see interaction. Does he look? I mean, let's face it. I mean, everybody's not with, stopping and cutting and going outside and coming back in. Again, this is no reflection on a barber being bad or good. It's just maybe something that customer can feel like, man, where's he going? I mean, he's got a client in the chair. He's been gone for 10 minutes. Well, what makes you think he won't do that with you? And you're new. It's a chance he can, it's a chance he may not. That's right. So when you walk in a shop, be observant. You can see who has the clients. There may be a great reason for it. He might be an excellent barber, and he has a good personality. Now, that's a win. To be honest with you, that's a win. But suppose that there's another barber there who had his rush, and if you would have came at a different time, you would have seen that he had 3, 4, 5, 6 clients. Now he hit a dry spell, right? Because maybe he's on appointment basis, and you don't know if people cancel. There's a lot you don't know, and now he's sitting in his own barber chair with no client. Would you assume that he can't cut? Would you assume that he's not a good barber because, hey man, he ain't cutting nobody? It's kind of messed up, right? He might be ones that most of the barbers look what's the best way I want to say? Look up to for different reasons. And he could be young, right? A young barber. Do you want to go to a young barber? There's nothing wrong with going to a young barber. There's nothing wrong with you growing with him. He could be new in the trade. And maybe you may have to work with him for a cut or two. What's wrong with that? Work with the young guy. Now y'all come up together, right? If you want your hair cut shorter, tell him, hey man, can you cut me down a little bit more? If he didn't hurt you and he took a little bit too much off, and it's not the biggest deal in the world, it's up to you to decide that, right? But if it's not that big of a deal, just tell him hey man, next time I come through, man, I'm gonna remind you, but yeah, this is a little bit too low for me. Talk to him. People tripping nowadays. They act like a person's supposed to get your hair perfect on the first haircut. It happens where you're satisfied, but did he give you exactly what you wanted? Chances may be that he didn't. but you work with them, you open your mouth a little bit, just say, hey man, can you do this? And if he's listening, and if he don't listen, and that's a whole nother subject, right? So these are some of the things that cleanliness of the barber chair. You walk in, trash all around you. All around the chair. The chair needs to be wiped down. Got hair all on the chair. Too much hair on the floor. You got to track that all over the place. Make your decision. You might feel like you don't have a problem with that. Or you could say, well, you know what? Yeah, he keeps his joint nice and clean. And that matters to you, right? So these are just little tips from the Barber Concierge, right? When it comes to what to look for when you go into the barbershop. There's nothing wrong with sitting there, being patient. You don't have to jump to the first one that says, hey, can I help you? But never ask, don't ever ask who's the best. The biggest tip I can tell you, don't ask who's the best. You make that judgment, it's disrespectful. All right, it's now that confident barber. You're gonna have different types of barbers' opinions on that. You're gonna have different barbers when that question is asked. You might find that only one person might say, "Man, I can get you," or they might even say they're the best. Now that's gonna be a rift between that barber and the rest, if that's how that shop, the atmosphere of that shop between the barbers, right? If somebody asks who's the best, and you raise your hand and you give them the best cut you got, all right? Now hear me good here. You give him the best haircut, and he loved it. For someone to come in the shop and ask who's the best, that means they're always looking for the best, which means that they're not going to just stop with you. All right. The first opportunity they can go to another shop and ask who's the best, because as soon as you slip one time, it's possible that customer could be gone. Possible. I can't speak for all the customers. I can't speak for all the barbers. I can just give you a tip and that's a tip even for you young barbers. Somebody asks you the best, you can say yes, you can be confident. But if it's all about how good you are, you better be on your A game all the time, because there's a good chance that that customer, as soon as you slip, because some people are just looking for this, I don't know what they're just looking for a haircut that's going to shop. Man, look, you ain't going to get but so many compliments. And the ladies are going to, if she just wants you just for your haircut, then that's on you if that's what you're looking for. So that's one thing. Now, the last thing, and I'll make this one quick, is self-care, self-love. All customers deserve that, right? It used to be where men would go, they hurry up and get out the shop so they can get to their friend, girlfriend, wife, so the significant other, let's say it like that. But when that person is getting their hair done, they ain't thinking about us. They're not thinking about how long some don't like to be in a salon, but for so long. But if it takes 3 hours, it takes 3 hours. We want to rush the barber. We, at least at one time, want to rush the barber and hurry up to get to her when it's not being reciprocated. Don't short yourself. Enjoy your service. That's why some fall asleep. They're enjoying their service. The ones that fall asleep, they're not falling asleep talking about hurry up. They're falling asleep. They're enjoying that minute or two, and getting their service done. Some may get a shampoo if they want. They take their hour or so to get nice for their significant other, right? But many of the customers are rushing to get to them when they ain't rushing to get to you. Now, if that's how you living, who am I to say anything? All I'm saying is take that time out. If you need a facial, get one. If you sit there and need a service that you haven't had in a while, you never had it before, try it out. I got a facial machine back here. You know, for example, for my here in my studio, for someone that may want the time out to sit there and say, yeah, man, I need to get something done. You walking around with blemishes, or that's just not a female term for getting your facial done, but you got uneven tones on your skin, and your face could be a little cleaner. No disrespect to anybody, but that's just what a facial does. It takes that layer of dead skin off your face. Now you looking a little bit. Now you ready for that date that to spend time with that significant other. So these are a lot of things to talk about. Please send me your comments and tell me what you think about any of it. You know what I mean? If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But I'm the barber concierge. I ain't never wrong. But for those that feel that I am, please leave your comment. If tell me where I can learn. I can learn at any point in time. 3 decades, I'm still trying to go for another, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 decades more. But you tell me, educate me a little bit, because I'm gonna continue to educate others. Not just barbers, but the clients too. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's willing to listen. So peace and love. As I like to say, peace and hair grease, and I'll see y'all in another video. And once again, I'm doing my own shit.